1,000 questions and answers. What is a solar system? A solar system is made up of a star and all the objects orbiting or circling it. Our solar system includes the Sun, 8 planets and their moons, and other balls of rock, ice, and metal, such as comets and asteroids. The Sun makes up 99% of our solar system's mass. How old is the Sun? The Sun is a middle-aged star. It probably formed about 4.6 billion years ago. It will probably burn for another 5 billion years and then die in a blaze so bright that the Earth will be scorched right out of existence. How old is the Earth? The Earth was born about 4.6 billion years ago. How old is the universe? Scientists believe that the universe may be 13.7 billion years old. How long is a year? The Earth travels around the Sun every 365.24 days, which gives our calendar year of 365 days. To make up the extra 0.24 days, we add an extra day to our calendar at the end of February in every 4th year, known as a leap year. How long is a year on Mercury? It takes approximately 88 Earth days for Mercury to travel around the Sun, so a year on Mercury is about a quarter of an Earth year. How long is a year on Neptune? Neptune is so far from the Sun that its orbit takes about 165 Earth years. So 1 year on Neptune lasts for 165 Earth years. How long is a month? A month is 29.53 days long. A lunar month is 29.53 days long. It takes the moon 27.3 days to circle the Earth, but it is 29.53 days from one full moon to the next. Because the Earth is also moving, our calendar months are artificial. How long is a day? A day is the time the Earth takes to turn once. Our day, the solar day, is 24 hours. How big is the Sun? 864,327 miles in diameter. The Sun is 2,346,396 million square miles. How big is Mercury? Mercury is 3,032 miles in diameter and 29 million square miles. How big is Venus? Venus is 7,521 miles in diameter and 178 million square miles. How big is the Earth? The Earth is 7,927 miles in diameter and is 197 million square miles. How big is Mars? Mars is 4,222 miles in diameter and 56 million square miles. How big is Jupiter? Jupiter is 88,846 miles in diameter and 23,707 million square miles. How big is Saturn? Saturn is 74,898 miles in diameter and 16,448 million square miles. How big is Uranus? Infinity. How big is Neptune? 30,775 miles in diameter and 2,423 million square miles. How big is the Moon? The Moon is 2,159 miles in diameter and 15 million square miles. How did the Earth begin? Around 4.6 billion years ago, a cloud of dust and gas swirled around our newly formed sun. Gradually, the grains of dust and gas were pulled together into clumps by their own gravity. These clumps became the Earth and the other planets in our solar system. What was the early Earth like? It was a fiery ball. It took 500 million years for its surface to cool and form a hard crust. As it cooled, the Earth gave off gases and water to vapor, which formed the atmosphere. What is the Earth made of? Its core consists mainly of iron. Its rocky crust is mainly made of oxygen and silicon. In between the two layers is the hot mantle of metal, silicates, sulfide, and oxide. What's special about the Earth? The Earth is the only planet with oxygen in its atmosphere and liquid water on its surface. Both water and oxygen are needed for life to exist. What is the atmosphere? The Earth's atmosphere, or air, is a layer of gas including nitrogen, oxygen, argon, and carbon dioxide that surrounds the planet. Does the Earth spin? Yes, the Earth spins on its axis once a day, while also orbiting or traveling around the Sun. What shape is the Earth? The Earth is not quite a perfect sphere. The spinning of the planet causes it to bulge at the equator. Scientists describe Earth's shape as geoid, which simply means Earth-shaped. How old are the oceans? The oceans were formed between 3.8 and 4.2 billion years ago. As the Earth cooled, clouds of steam became water, creating vast oceans. What are tides? Tides are caused by the oceans being pulled by the moon's gravity. On the side of the Earth facing the moon, the ocean are pulled more than the Earth. What? On the side of the Earth facing the moon, the oceans are pulled more than the Earth. On the opposite side, the water is pulled less than the Earth itself. How old is Earth's oldest rock? Earth's oldest rock is 4.28 billion years old. What is a gas giant? Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune are all gas giants. This means that they are large planets and made mostly from gases such as hydrogen and helium. They do not have a solid surface because they are not made of rock or any hard material. What is a dwarf planet? There are 5 dwarf planets currently known in the solar system: Pluto and the other 4. These are large enough to be rounded by their own gravity, but not large enough to have cleared the area around them. Pluto was called a planet until 2006, when it was reclassified. What are the ice giants? Neptune and Uranus are sometimes known as ice giants because they contain large amount of icy water, methane, and ammonia. These are the 2 planets farthest from the Sun. What is a sunset? The Earth turns on its axis once every 24 hours. The Sun appears to rise in the east, moving across the sky to set in the west. What is summer? As the Earth orbits the Sun, the hemisphere of the planet tilted towards the Sun has its summer. What is the solar cycle? The Sun follows a cycle of activity called the solar cycle, which lasts about 11 years. What is a solar eclipse? A solar eclipse is when the moon moves in between the Sun and the Earth, creating a shadow on the Earth. What is a sunspot? Sunspots are dark blotches seen on the Sun's surface. They are dark because they are slightly less hot than the rest of the surface. What is a transit? Mercury and Venus are closer to the Sun than Earth. Occasionally, they can be seen crossing or in transit over the face of the Sun. What is the Sun's crown? The Sun's crown is its corona, its glowing white hot atmosphere. What is the Sun? The sun The sun is a star at the center of our solar system. It was formed from a cloud of gas and dust and material from one or more exploding stars. Light and heat from the sun support all life on Earth. What is the solar wind? The solar wind is the stream of particles constantly blowing out from the sun. What is a solar flare? A solar flare are eruptions on the sun's surface that release energy into space. What is moonlight? Moonlight is the sun's light reflected off the dust on the moon's surface. What is waxing? Over the first 2 weeks of each month, we see more and more of the moon's bright side until full moon. As the moon appears to grow, we say that it is waxing. As the moon appears to shrink, we say that it's waning. What is a new moon? At the new moon, the moon lies between the earth and the sun, and we catch only a crescent-shaped glimpse on its bright side. What is the moon? The moon is a rocky ball and is the Earth's natural satellite. It is held in orbit around the Earth by gravity and has circled the Earth for at least 4 billion years. It is about a quarter of the Earth's diameter. What is a lunar eclipse? As the moon goes around the Earth, sometimes it passes right into the Earth's shadow where the sunlight is blocked off. This is a lunar eclipse. Oh, I'm so sick right now. I have to keep reading. Who was Copernicus? Nicholas Copernicus. Nicholas Copernicus was the Polish astronomer who first suggested the Earth was moving around the sun. Before this, most people thought everything in the universe revolved around the Earth. Who was Galileo Galilei? Saturn's rings are the planet's shining halo. First seen by Galileo Galilei, who invented a simple telescope in 1609. Who is Cassini? In 1675, the astronomer Cassini spotted a dark gap between the rings around Saturn. This is now called the Cassini division after him. Who was Edmund Halley? Edmund Halley was the first person to correctly predict the year in which a particular comet would reappear. That comet was later named after him. Who is William Herschel? Herschel was the first discovered Uranus in 1781. Thinking it was a comet, Uranus was soon proved to be a planet. Who was John Couch Adams? John Couch Adams was a British mathematician who predicted Neptune's position at the same time as Frenchman Urbain Le Verrier. Both men looked at the way Neptune's gravity disturbed Uranus's orbit. Who was Johann Galle? In Berlin, John Gale was the first to spot Neptune on September 23, 1846. Who was Asaph Hall? In 1877, American astronomer Asaph Hall discovered Mars' 2 moons. He named them Phobos and Deimos, after the attendants of the Roman war god Mars. Who was the first dog in space? The first living creature in space was a dog named Laika. She was sent into orbit in 1957. Who was the first person to walk on the moon? The first men on the moon were Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and the US Apollo 11 mission. They landed on the moon on July 28, 1969. I'm probably an hour in. I'm only 15 minutes in. How hot is Mercury? In the day, the temperature soared to 752 degrees Fahrenheit. At night, they plunged to negative 283 degrees Fahrenheit. Is there life on Mars? Images from the mountains of Mars in 2011 showed signs of flowing water, suggesting that microorganisms may be able to survive. How fast does Jupiter spin? Despite its huge size, Jupiter's surface moves at 28,000 miles per hour. That's faster than 1 kilometer a second. Just kidding. Or is it? Why is Venus called the evening star? Venus reflects sunlight so well that it shines like a star. We can see it just before sunrise and also in the evening, just after the sun sets. How heavy is Saturn? Made largely of hydrogen, Saturn is remarkably light with a mass of 660 billion trillion tons. If you could find a big enough bathtub to put in it, it would float. How windy is Neptune? Neptune winds roar around the planet at up to 1,300 miles per hour. What's strange about Uranus? Unlike any other planet, Uranus does not spin on a slight tilt. Instead, it is tilted right over and rolls around the sun on its side, like a giant bowling ball. It is also very dark in there. Why is Mars red? Mars is red because the surface contains iron dust. Small amounts of oxygen in the atmosphere turn this rusty. What color is Neptune? The same color you'd see when you look at the color blue. What is Jupiter's red spot? The Great Red Spot, or the GERS, is a huge swirling storm in Jupiter's atmosphere. The storm is so big, it is bigger than Uranus. The planets are not alone out there. Balls of ice, rock, metal, and dogs also circle and hurtle through the solar system. But what exactly are they? What is an asteroid? An asteroid is mostly made of rock and metal. Thousands of asteroids circle around the sun in a big band between Mars and Jupiter. What is a comet? Comets are balls of dirty ice on the outer solar system. Occasionally, one is drawn towards the sun. Material from the comet surface is blown away, making a shiny tail. What is a meteorite? Meteorite are lumps of rock from space that are big enough to penetrate the Earth's atmosphere and reach the ground without burning up. What is the Kuiper Belt? It is a region of the solar system that lies beyond Neptune. Thousands of relatively small frozen objects orbit there. What is a dog? A dog is a mammal which reproduces using its belly. What is a galaxy? A galaxy is a massive system of stars, gas, and dust, held together by gravity. These are billions of galaxies scattered through space. Sometimes they merge and collide with each other. Oh, I don't want to do this anymore. I give up. Yeah, these whatever challenges seem harder than they seem.